if you don't understand something or just want me to repeat something, then just feel free to let me know. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I will just request the game spectate right now on the Steam. So we have to accept this thing. Oh, I see it's impossible because it says your account have a blockade and you cannot transmit like your video stream on Steam. Why is that?
Not sure. Probably because I still haven't bought anything from the Steam market.
So without that, it's gonna be pretty impossible to see the game in real time. Do you have any idea how you did it in the previous weeks?
Actually, let me try and fix that. Sorry, you might need to wait a minute.
I mean, if you have another solution, then just tell me how you did it with the other coaches, but I mean, this method is probably most efficient to live spectate the game, because it allows for interaction, to see hands, see opponents, and all other stuff. Nowa blokada, no co poradzić. Ciekawe, jak to rozwiąże.
Is it possible for you to use Skype?
Not quite. Like, if you let me beforehand, then I would do it, but right now Skype is not available on this PC for me, and it would take a lot of time to set it up correctly.
That's fine.
I mean, I sent you a message that I will need your Steam ID for the screen share stream, and you didn't send anything that your account is blocked for this, so... I mean, is it just because you didn't buy anything on Steam, or is there like any other thing that is blocking your account from doing a live stream?
That should be the only thing, according to my conscience. I can search it out immediately, just to be sure.
Okay, so maybe if it's impossible for to do it now, maybe you just want to do it like only voice, so no spectate, and I will simply answer all your questions, concerns, and stuff, and we can choreograph your decks. Because doing the live commentary on the play without like seeing the actual board, so even if you describe it to me perfectly, it's really hard and it's really tiring on both sides, because then you would have to tell every card played, everything played, I would have to notice it, and then some mistakes might be made because of the unclear board state. So I would say it's really hard without seeing the actual board. So yeah, if you're fine with voice only, then why not? So do you have some questions prepared, like I told you in the first message?
Yeah. Currently I'm struggling in a difficult position since I stopped playing. Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, yes, I was messing around with one. Okay, so here's the struggle that I'm currently stuck in. I started playing Shadowverse in the Rise of Bahamut expansion, and I stopped playing it during the Tempest of God and returned during the Alice expansion. So the A2 rank that I'm currently in is technically gained before the TOG expansion, and I use Seraph deck in order to gain the rank, and now it's currently outdated. And in order for me to update it, I can either try and craft a bunch of Snow White, which is impractical and quite impossible in my case, or I could just simply disenchant the entire deck and build a new deck, probably aggro bats.
Okay, so from what I get, you do not have too many free vials to spend on decks, right?
Nope, not currently.
Okay, so, well, just to start things off, what is your goal currently? So, is your goal to learn to play how to play with certain deck, or your goal is to get to the, let's say, master rank, or your goal is simply just get the game better?
My goal is actually to get to the master rank, since that is the time when I can finally relax and start changing other decks where I don't need to risk losing anything.
Okay. So, if you want to go to master, like, the fastest way is just to play the most efficient deck. So, playing Seraph is not the way. Like, Seraph is probably not even tier 2, maybe on the bottom of the tier 2, but if we count tiers like S tier, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, Seraph would be something in between tier 2 and tier 3 in the current metagame. So, and also it's a slow deck. Like, the best way to rank up and get victories is to play either aggro deck or mid-range deck, because this way the games are fast. So if you are winning fast, you are winning fast. If you are losing fast, you are losing fast. While with some control games or Seraph games, even if you are gonna win, you are still not gonna win early on. So the game will still be long, and if you're gonna lose, sometimes you will just struggle. So you will defend yourself for turn, then next turn defend once again, and defend once again, and defend once again, and then your opponent top deck will destroy you. So if you play control-ish deck, or control style, or even the mid-range like Dragon with healing and such, if you're gonna lose, some games still will be really long. While if you play aggro, or aggressive mid-range deck, so let's say Shadow, this way, if you're gonna lose, you know it early on, so you can surrender as early as turn 5-6, because sometimes there is no comeback. Same goes for the victory. If you got enough pressure, your opponent is probably gonna concede and make it easier for you.
So yes, I understand the difference between the aggro deck and also Seraph deck, but my current confusion is what to do with my Seraph deck. Due to the fact that it's built before the TOG expansion, it is currently extremely outdated. And as I said before, it is not a deck that's viable for climbing the ladder anymore. So I just destroy it entirely and build a new deck. That's the current decision I'm struggling with.
Okay, so you shouldn't destroy it totally, because there is like no reason for you to do so. Like, there is no reason to disenchant all of the cards, because they are good. I mean, they are good. They will be good later on. Okay, sorry, say.
When I say disenchant the entire deck, I mean cards that are only specified into this deck. For example, I would disenchant the Seraph that is needed for this deck, and probably maybe Monk of Purification, but those are only two things, and also Luxon Saria stuff.
Okay, so I can agree on Luxon Saria. Like, she's not the greatest card, and she can be probably safely destroyed. But Monk of Purification got potential. It's fine. Okay, so one thing, because from what I know right now, after you sent me, you don't have many vials. So,
yeah.
Well. Did you disenchant all of the cards that you think are useless? Or did you disenchant all of the foil cards? Because some people are like, okay, I don't have collection, and then they show me it, and they have like a lot of foil cards. Like, they have normal cards and foil cards, and they didn't destroy the foil cards because they like the foil. And that's not good when completing.
No, I don't have much animator cards left, due to the fact that I use it to build the mid-range Shadow deck. Currently, I'm left with a limited amount of legendaries. I could quickly count it for you if you wanted to.
Okay.
My legendaries currently consists 1 Ancient Elf, 1 Merlin, 2 Cerberus, 2 Wizard of Oz, Wizardess of Oz, 1 Dark Dragon Forte, 1 Roland the Incorruptible, 1 Hero of Antiquity, 3 Demon Lord Actar, and also 3 Seraphs.
Okay. So that's not
There's
a...
no...
Huh? Yeah, I just want to say
Sorry?
that it's not a lot of them, but you can probably safely disenchant 1 Seraph, because even in most popular Seraph deck, people play 2 Seraph at most. Like, playing 3 is suboptimal by the statistics, so some people made the calculation, and with 3 Seraph, you are more likely to brick than not. Also, because Seraph currently is not the tier 1 deck, if it ever becomes tier 1 deck, then by the time you will just craft it. Because the next changes are gonna be in 2 weeks, and there is like... You can be 100% sure that the Seraph is not gonna ascend to the tier 1. Because even if they change some cards, it will still favor some of the neutral builds or mid-range builds, and Seraph is simply too slow with the current set of cards. Maybe it will be a good deck in the next expansion, so maybe it will get some new tools, and it will ascend to the higher tier of decks. But at the moment, it's not that viable.
Well, currently Aegis is the most popular for Heaven, followed by Storm Heaven, since the emphasis on Storm suddenly just raised after this expansion and the nerf of Neutral Blood. Okay, so that is the current situation. And I still hasn't get an answer from you yet, is that whether I should get rid of the Seraph and build aggro blood.
Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be aggro blood, because you already have some tools. So your tools right now, you have Wizard Dress of Oz, you have plenty of rune cards, which you just showed me, and yes. For the next 2 weeks, at least, before the changes are made, the neutral rune is gonna remain a really strong deck. And the neutral rune...
Neutral?
Yeah, neutral. They play Wizard Dress of Oz, and all of the neutral decks, like if you have neutral package, so it consists of Alice, the Wonderland Explorer, the 4-mana legendary that buffs all of the neutral cards in the board and your hand. So if you craft like 3 copies of her, then you can use her in a lot of decklists. I mean, I can send you an example decklist of the neutral rune.
I understand what the deck consists of. The current situation is that I can't build anything due to the little amount of virus I've got. I've got currently 1 animated gold, and I'm keeping it because that is the only card I have for that card. And the rest that I've got left is just bronze silver that will never ever be able to rush up to level 3500 in order to craft a legendary.
Are like sure that you disenchanted everything that can be possibly disenchanted for cards?
Yes, I even consider cards that wouldn't be used in normal deck otherwise, so that is our situation. And if I wanted to explain my situation much more clearly, the original story begins before the Neutral Blood was nerfed, and I crafted a Neutral Blood deck. After it is nerfed, I disenchanted the entire deck, including Alice and stuff, and tried some new decks that are popping out, including one which is Dark Alice.
Okay.
It's a great mistake from my perspective to craft Dark Alice, since it is basically useless in terms of rank play. And interesting enough, I also craft what's the name again? Lord Autonomy by mistake, given it's just a bunch of different things that crash in together, and I make a giant mess. Currently, I'm left with only 3 decks, one of which is not really usable, and the other 2 is Burn and Mid-range. Yes, technically I could switch to neutral, however, I've got no neutral cards legendary in my stock.
Okay. So,
and the thought of me crafting 3 more Alice's out again is not possible now. Unless, of course, I destroy one of my current deck.
Okay, so because it's impossible for me to see all of the cards that you have in your collection right now, unless you make a lot of screens, and that would be probably really painful to do. I still believe that might be some cards that you can destroy, but whatever, let's not get into it. So, if your current problem is this ability to create proper deck because you lack vials, you should just play some Take 2. Because Take 2 do not require you to have a perfect deck, you don't need to have any card at all, you can like have equal chances with anyone out there, because you will just draft a random deck, and only skill will matter. So if you play a lot of Take 2s, that's like the best way to build your collection, and it's working in most of the card games. So I don't know if you played any of the other card games, but you probably heard of card games like Hearthstone, maybe Duelist, Elder Scrolls Legends.
Yep.
All of these card games have limited format, like the Take 2 in Shadowverse. So the best way to build collection in any of these games, if you have no cards for the real deck, is to just play the limited format. Because by doing so, you will gain a lot of cards while not having collection at all. You don't need anything, you only need the game value. So in this case, you need gold to enter it, or you need tickets. So you can earn enough gold by doing daily quests and getting daily bonuses, and then of course you get the tickets once in a while, and you get the tickets from your scores. So do you have any of the Take 2 tickets at the moment, or?
Nope, I'm left with one.
Okay, and how many of the point score you have at the moment?
Point score?
The one when you go to the missions and like achievements. There is like every month the points that reset.
The point score currently I am at 22,000.
Okay, so that's a lot.
Sorry?
Okay, I said that's a lot. I mean, okay, so you have 22,000 of your rank points or the achievement points that give you rewards? I mean
the score. Let's say, you're saying the score reward, or
Oh
are you
yeah,
saying
yeah,
the
okay,
achievement?
yeah. I meant the score rewards. Sorry.
Yes, 22,000 over the course of the 1st of August to now.
Wow, that's a lot. So you played a lot of game actually. If you have 20,000 at the moment.
Yes, but currently I'm bouncing back and forth from A2 to A1 somehow. I'm not sure what I've done wrong.
Okay, so when is like the next time you're gonna get a ticket? How many points you need? Because I don't remember the entire list, and when you have it open, then it's easier for you, say.
None.
Sorry?
Any awards starting from 22,000 above are all vials and coins. Oh, sorry, rupees.
Okay.
The in-game currency, and also card packs. None of which are Take 2 tickets.
Okay, so there is no any more Take 2 tickets, I guess. So well, your best shot is simply gain some gold, and of course make some progress with the 5 wins on Take 2. I don't know how many 5 wins on Take 2 you already have, but there are some achievements that will net you some nice rewards if you complete, I believe, 5 times 5 all Take 2. But maybe you did it already. No idea.
Getting one is already very hard for me.
Huh? Okay.
Getting a win streak of 5 is already hard for me in Take 2. Getting 5 of those is not possible.
Well, why you say it's not possible? Like, it's not a problem. You have to just believe in yourself, in your skill, make correct decisions, and learn things. Like, if you keep learning and improving, eventually you will do it. So, even so you say it's not possible, maybe you just want to phrase it like it's not possible right now, but you can strive to just get
Maybe
better
I should
and do it.
word it as though that I don't have the skill to make it possible right now, if you want it to be specific.
Yeah, so that would be the case.
Anyways,
But,
it seems like I've started a Take 2 run about 2 weeks ago, I think. I could show you the weird deck that I've created in Take 2.
okay, you can
Perhaps
send
you
me
could
the
suggest
code.
how can I play in the following 2 games also.
Yeah, no problem. Just send me the code and I
Stefan?
will check it out.
Sorry?
I said to send me a deck code and I will check it out.
There you go.
Okay. I need to type it. Okay, so I see it's Shadowcraft. More than notice aggressive, you got really good legendary with the Hector, but your deck lacks higher curve, so it stops at 4, and then 5, 6, or 5 and 6 are really dual. So it might be a problem, but well, seeing as you have these cards, you probably should just go into aggressive mode and try to rush your opponent before something happens. Also the gold cards like Poisoned Apple of Rebirth, that's not a good card at all. So if you have a chance, do not draft it in the future.
That only works on a neutral shadow, which never works, but...
Yeah, anyway, Corpse Load of Woe is also like a trap legendary, so unless it was paired with a really good other gold, then once again, that's not a great card, because it requires Evolve to get going on, and same goes for the really high cost of Necromancy, so this card was really tempting for people to even build around it in Standard, but currently it's weak even in Take 2. Anyway, there are sites where you can simply just check, like there are Reddits, and same go for Discords. People build tier list for arenas, so then when you are drafting, like your next deck, you can simply open this tier list and compare your every pick. The only thing you have to keep in mind, like the best one, is to just go with the mana curve. So you want a 2-drop, like always. You always want to drop something on turn 2, turn 3. If you miss these turns on arena, which is really tempo based, then you will have trouble in winning like even single game. Because right now Shadowverse heavily favors the player who goes first. So the player who goes second, even though he gains 3 evolutions, the tempo loss, which might be caused by just going second. Because if your opponent plays something first, then you are not in the position to be in aggression. You have to defend yourself. You have to either kill his creatures or do something on the board, like destroy them. Or make your own board better by playing more creatures. But because he was going first, he is taking the initiative. So if player going first missed the drop, then he's in a really bad situation. Because the 3 evolutions and evolution first as a player number 2 will only help him if the player number 1 loses the initiative. So if he does nothing on the essential turn, then it's gonna be really problematic for him to come back. So if you are drafting your deck, you just want to make sure that you'll be able to drop something turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, turn 6. These are the turns that you want to get some high value minions. So something that will be really cool with evolutions. So that's the another part. Like, you don't really need good creatures with Evo abilities on the turns like 1, 2, 3, 4. This is not needed. But the turns like 4 and above, you have to consider that these creatures will need to have a really good evolution or baseline stats, so they will be able to gain some value for you, regain some tempo, or regain initiative if you are going as a player number 2. So in your case, in this deck, you have nothing for the turn 5, you have nothing for the turn 6, and wow, that's gonna be a trouble, because then on turn 5 and turn 6, either you need to go off curve, because if you do not draw correctly, it will be a problem. So if you want to go on curve on turn 5, you have to draw 2-drop and 3-drop, or 4-drop and 1-drop. So these are the 2 only possible choices for you to fill out the curve on the 5. On the 6, it's kinda different, because on the 6 you can go with the 3 2-drops, 2 3-drops, or 4-drop and 2-drop, 4-drop and 2 1-drops, 3-drop, 2-drop and 1-drop. So you can fill your curve on 6 efficiently, and you have a lot of stuff to do so. Turn 7, you have only 1-drop.
So, pause right there, because currently I'm trying to do a game with it. So my question for this session is, currently I'm playing against a Swordcraft in Take 2 with the deck that I've just shown.
Okay.
Currently the board is clear and I've got 2 choices to pick: Skeleton Ogre or Ghost Hound Sexton.
Okay, so he
I'm
didn't
going
play anything, I guess,
first.
right? Okay, and you are going first. So if you're going first, you'd rather play Ghost Hack Sexton. And the reason is Skeleton Ogre will be a 1-4. 1-4 is cool, but it's not gonna trade with anything. While Ghost Hack Sexton, 2 mana, 2 and 2, it's like vanilla stats. So these are really good because it will either trade with your opponent 2 and 2, or he can play something at 3 mana that will have 2 points of defense. So by doing so, Ghost Hunt Sexton can trade, and you want to use your early game to trade with your opponent if he plays some minions, or just to raise him up if you're able to. But because he's playing Swordcraft, you probably won't be able to raise him until really late in the game, so you'd rather go into the trades early on and then try to outvalue him with Andras's, Earthshock Ogre, Ektar, or even the Corpse Lord of Vow. You will gain enough shadows to use him, I believe.
Okay. So from my perspective, is it better for me to trade, or is it better for me to just go aggro, go face?
Well, you should trade, because if you go aggro, you don't have too many of the aggressive creatures. So versus Swordcraft, it's a class that consists mostly of storm creatures or really efficient creatures that will just go face, or some spells that will create stuff that will go face. So Alvida's Command or Council of Card Knights. Like, Swordcraft as a class have only one goal. Did you play Magic the Gathering, maybe?
Okay, so currently I'm at 3 mana. I've got 2 decisions that I can make. I got Feather Patroller, which is a 3/2 ward, or I got Death Chaser, which is a 2/3 normal minion. Now, as I mentioned that I could trade, that means that the opponents have a minion currently on board that can just simply clear my Patroller.
Well, if you can make efficient trade and expand your board, even at the cost of not using the ability, that's okay. I mean, if you want to trade and play your creature once again, that's fine. But like I said, it's really hard to compare because I have no preview of the screen, so we don't know. I don't know like how many cards he have, what is the board state at all, like what are the minions, what is his expression, how much he's thinking about his turns, because these are all indicators that will help judge the situation.
I'm trying to find a way.
Okay, so
while the opponent's waiting, I'll ask for the other questions.
Okay, great.
Oh great, my board got cleared. This is disastrous. Tell me, what will be the most efficient play for a Swordcraft player at 4 mana?
So
with the power to evolve.
With the power to evolve, most likely the Flower Fencer. That's one of the best creatures for Arena. It's not that great for Constructed, because in Constructed, right now, a lot of people are playing either aggro Swordcraft, so they play the White General on 4, or a lot of players also play neutral Swordcraft. So Alice is one of the really good for play points forwards. Anyway, Alice or all of the other stuff doesn't amount to evolve, while Flower Fencer does. So Flower Fencer requires to be evolved on 4. If she's evolved on 5, on 6, or even later on, she's not gonna have that much of an impact. While if she's evolved on 4, it's a 4/5 plus 2 and 2 plus 2 plus 1 and 1. So that's a lot to add to the board. And if he follows up with something like Luminous Mage, then it's a really good board to go with.
Oh great. Frog. So, okay, so in the current situation, my opponent have throw down a frog and turn 4, not ideal for her and for me. My question is that, This is a disastrous deck. I just need this. So for arena runs, why did I say arena? For take 2 runs, which class do you perceive to be better? Some people say Shadowverse, some people say Sorceress.
Okay, so as for the first part, why you said arena, that's because you have to click arena button before you enter the take 2, so it's normal. Anyway, it's the same thing. So anyway, as for the classes, there is also like class tier lists. So you can find them on the card tier list. Like I said, you can just go on Reddit, on Discord, and there are plenty of people who does this tier list. So in my opinion, right now, it doesn't matter what class you pick, as long as it's a class that either can have tempo or have efficient creatures. So you have multiple of choices, and just remember that a lot of your take runs will be determined by legendaries. So a really strong legendary class will be Shadowcraft. Also Shadowcraft have a lot of consistent and efficient minions because of the necromancy synergy, so they're really powerful. So Shadowcraft is one of the better tempo picks for the arena. The other would be Bloodcraft. Bloodcraft also have really good legendaries at the moment, and they are really good. Like, even if they nerfed Abyss or Karabose in a current state, these are all really good legends for arena. Same goes for something like Maelstrom Serpent. That's the other legendary that can really carry out the game on its own. Also with the Bloodcraft, you have ability to get a lot of really good value minions on the common picks and uncommon picks. So Big Knuckle Bodyguard, it's one of the best 4-drops in the game. Scarlet Saber, it's one of the best uncommons in the game and one of the best uncommons for arena. Like, that's the standard tier card, and the ability to get her on arena is even better. Or on the contrary, you can just go with the classics like Swordcraft. So with the Swordcraft you can draft hyper aggressive strategy, which will help you in oppressing your opponent, while Swordcraft still have really good finishers. So Swordcraft have access to Albert, which is really awesome, but also a lot of good gold spells. So gold spells and gold followers. So we have White Witch Swordsman, that's like one of the top tier gold cards on arena. You have Alvida's Command, Council of Card Knights, like all of these cards are really getting you a lot of value, and they're really great. Same goes for the Hero of Antiquity, but not to such extent, because he's good, but he's not that great. I mean, on arena he will be hard to deal with, but it's not impossible to do so. On the other hand, Haven, or Haven, whatever it's spelled, it's not that consistent class. I mean, you need a lot of amulets, you need some countdown amulets, then you need something that removes the counters. So it's not gonna work your way if you do not get a perfect draft and also perfect legendaries. So good legendary will be something like Aegis that can win the game. And the other good legendary of Haven are the basic ones. But if you get something like, let's say, Skullfane or Eidolon of Madness, these are really bad. Like, these are terrible. So Haven is not the greatest way to go. Another class that is not great to go on arena is Rune. Runecraft at the moment requires a lot of synergies. So you either have to draft a lot of spells, and spells are not great because of the spellboost synergy. So spells, spellboost cards, and such. So if you play standard, if in standard constructed, decks like Dimension Shift, they are really well crafted because you have a lot of synergies between the spells, the tutors for spells, and they all have synergy. While if you play on the arena, you will find yourself between drafting some spellboost cards, Rune Earthright cards, and some just neutral stuff that doesn't have synergy with either Earth Rune, Earth Sigils, or either the spell boost. So Runecraft is really terrible for arena, and same goes for legendaries. Some of the legendaries are fine, but let's just some Wizard Dress of Oz. This is semi-good, because you don't want to draw to get a lot of spells on arena, but sometimes you will have no choice, you will have a lot of spells, so Wizard Dress will simply banish your spells. Another Ginger. Ginger is terrible legendary for the arena, like she does nothing at all most of the time, because there is no synergy between her. Hulking Giant, it requires Earth Sigils. It's not great. Metric Golem, also something that's mediocre. So legendaries for Rune, even Daria Daria requires heavy spell boost deck that can empty its hand and then it will replenish by Daria. But on Arena, you will not play enough spells to make Daria cheap. So once again, Rune is out of the question if you want a good Arena runs. Dragon is really good. So Dragon simply goes by playing overstated minions. So sometimes you will have ramp, sometimes you will not get ramp, but Dragon have a lot of big followers, and that strategy with Dragon is simple. Remove your opponent creatures and play your big creatures. Because as a rule of the thumb, obviously, the bigger creature is gonna crush smaller creatures, so it's like survival of the fittest.
Why have I paused you there? Because in the current game, I've got 5 2-drops in turn 2. And 2 of which is Ghost Hound, 1 of it is the Legend Corpse, 1 of...
I don't know if you have the Poison Buckle apple in your hand. Also, like I said, it's really hard without me being able to spectate your game to determine what's the correct choice. So I can just...
It's idiotic of me to expect... It's idiotic for me to expect synergies.
Anyway, coming back to what I was saying, so Dragon is fine as long as you maintain proper balance between removals and big creatures. Also, if you pick something for the early turns. So, of course, you can have a lot of big creatures, but you also need something that you can play early on in the game, so you would not crumble between a faster opponent. And that leaves us with Forest. So Forest is something like Rune. It's not the greatest class for the arena, because legendaries of Forest are really in a strange position. So they put Anomaly, it can win you the game, but on the other hand it's like 8 mana, 8/8, so your opponent have to do something with it. Elf Queen is fine, but once again, she will not be able to bring you a lot of life if you do not draft a lot of fairies or a lot of spells. And all of the forest cards require something like play multiple cards before playing this card, so this card will get bonus. And on Arena, if you are able to cast 2 cards per turn, that's a lot already. So cards like Rhinoceros or any combo that you see in Standard currently are really hard and nearly impossible to pull off on the Arena. So worst case scenario, you will have to choose between Rune, Forest and Haven. So in this situation you can pick Haven because it's the best of the worst classes, while if you have any other option, so let's say Blood, Shadow, these are probably the best, then follow up with a Dragon and Sword. So that's how you should pick your classes on the Take-Two currently.
Side question, how strong is Handsome in Take-Two?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Sorry?
Can you repeat? Sorry.
Yeah, how strong is Handsome in Take-Two?
It's not strong at all, so if you can, then just avoid it, because it has 2 health. So if only the deck had more health, then it would be fine. But it's situational, because you cannot count it as a 2-drop unless you are going second, because, well, let's face it, you don't want to play 0-2, that's a really bad stats, and it requires your opponent having a really good creature on the board, or just having a creature, and sometimes this condition will not be fulfilled. So it's a bad card for Arena, it's not a good card. Of course, people played some meme decks, so with Tilting and Windmills when the Abyss was popular. So Blood would play Abyss, and then the Dragon would play Tilting and Windmills and kill with Hamsa. Sure, that was cool, but that was constructed only and requires specific deck. And on Arena, Hamsa is like 2-drop. Then, well, if your opponent have a big creature, maybe you can trade, but it still requires Evolution Point. So it's really weak. It's really not something that you want to consider drafting.
Yeah, that's true. So I decided to restart the entire Take-Two run, and currently I'm faced with a choice between Bloodcraft and Swordcraft. Forest is out of the consideration.
So, Bloodcraft is better.
My logic tells me to go for Sword. So what do you say?
I would say you should go for Blood, because Blood is just essentially better in terms of legendaries. Also, Blood is really versatile, and have really good spells and removals, while Sword sometimes can be clunky because Sword requires synergy between officers and commanders. Sure, sometimes you will pull it off, but there will be games where you don't draw your synergy and you will not be able to play it, while with Blood, your only synergy between cards is Vengeance. So Vengeance is like inherited bonus, but you don't need to have Vengeance because all of the Blood cards have some really good effects. So let's say Disagreeable Demon or Big Knuckle Bodyguard. Even if you are not in Vengeance, you can still take full advantage of their abilities. So Big Knuckle Bodyguard, he will hit you for 2, but that's not a price for killing a really good minion on the board. So that's how it goes.
Okay, so first question. How good is Azazel in the Bloodcraft? Azazel, a cost 7/7. Effect, Fanfare, change both users' defense to 10.
No problem, I know him. So, he is not the greatest pick you can have. So, he is one of the worst picks. But in Take 2, you cannot just measure the strength of one card. You have to look in pairs. So, if there is pair with one superior card and one trash card, sometimes it's better to take the other pair, which will have, let's say, 2 cards with Medicore power level. But that depends on the power level of the strongest card. So, first you have to look on the strongest card and then compare it to the other pair. And you have to estimate, is it worth taking the strongest card? So you will have a bomb in your deck, or to just take 2 cards that are not bomb tire, but they are just as good. So you would have to tell me what's the
choice of Azazel plus Blood Moon versus, I cannot pronounce that, Blood Hungry Matriarch plus Vampiric Fortress. My logic tells me to go for the Vampiric Fortress plus Matriarch.
Okay, what was the other card with Azazel?
Blood Moon.
Okay, so when you compare these two, it's in this situation it's really easy to do because Blood Moon requires Vengeance synergy. So I mean, it requires you to play some cards that have Vengeance. So it's not great. Azazel is obviously a mediocre card. Blood Hungry Matriarch, on the other hand, this card can single-handedly clear the enemy board. It's awesome, like, it's really good. Vampire Fortress, this card isn't great. I mean, there is slight chance that you will have Vampire synergy, because the Forest Bats, these cards that produce Forest Bats are not that common, but whatever, it depends on your luck. But the Matriarch can win you the game out of the spot, while Azazel can't, because Azazel can also heal your opponent, heal you, or bring you down. So you don't want a card that will bring you down, but also can help your opponent. You want a Matriarch, just because she's as good. So even if you do not draw single card with the Forest Bat synergy, the Matriarch effect can still win you the game. So that would be the choice at the moment.
How important is Big Knuckle Bodyguard?
Big Knuckle Bodyguard, it's one of the best 4-drops in the entire game. So if you have the ability to pick him, it's probably always the good choice. Unless there is like multiple, like there is like 2 better cards in the other pair, but that's unusual.
That's not nice. Okay, I've got Jaguar attack.
Juggernaut, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, I cannot pronounce that correctly.
Oh, no problem.
Medusa Gaze versus Bandersnatch and Vampire Noble, i.e. the 3-mana 3/2 Tauntaun ward.
Okay, so in this case, the Vampire Noble and Bandersnatch is good, because Vampire Noble already have a synergy with the Vampire Fortress. Like, that's a minuscule bonus, but doesn't matter. He's just really good 3-drop. So 3 mana, 3 and 2, he got taunt, he will produce a token. If you use him with the Evo ability, so let's say you play him on 4 and 5, depending on which place you go, you will be guaranteed to produce at least 1 token and maybe a second one, because your opponent will crush something into him. So he is a really good pick. Bandersnatch, it's not the best creature to have, but with the enhance, he got Rush. So Rush allows you for better trades, and Rush abilities are also the thing that you have to consider in the game that works like evolution points. So it's like you have 3 evolution point for the cost of more mana. For the creatures like Bandersnatch. And on arenas, Rush and Storm are really the premium abilities. So Bandersnatch is cool. Bandersnatch with the Veit Noble, of course. I mean, he's not the best card, but having something that can just help you with Rush, and maybe he will bring out the creature out of your deck if you use it correctly, while later on it will be good. Okay, I see, that's the next pair, I guess.
Sorry?
I see, that's the next pair, right? The one that you sent me. Yeah.
I presume we're picking the right one, given that Soul has been nerfed and Doctor No requires vengeance.
Okay, so that's really tricky to judge, but the thing is, Toph is still a 2 mana 2 and 2. And your deck requires low curve. Demonic Troll is just a big body for the 6 mana, it's nothing more. Frogbat is not a good card. Frogbat is really weak. Dark General, sure, worst case scenario, you will play her 4 mana, 4 and 3, no ability, nothing. But in the late game stages, more likely than not, you will be braying, it will go into Vengeance. So by then, the Dark General will have its ability. So just treat Toph as 2 mana 2 and 2. If you are ever able to get advantage of the Toph Rush ability, then you're in a perfect spot. If not, then you just play him as a 2-drop, and he will just fulfill your curve. Demonic Troll, like I said, it's a big body, but picking a Frogbat will just break your 3 mana spot. You don't want it.
How, in terms of... Currently I'm faced with a choice between Goblin Mage plus Slacker and also Spellbook Decryption plus Actress Fiera.
What was the other card with the actress?
Spellbook Decryption.
Okay, so
6 mana, draw 3 cards.
Yeah. Okay, so Spellbook Decryption, it's one of these cards that you really don't want to have, like multiple copies, and even one sometimes is too much. Because of course you will draw 3 cards, but it costs 6 mana. 6 mana is really a lot, and if you are able to spend 6 mana on a spell like this, you probably already won, so you don't need cards like it. You'd rather pick the left one. Goblin Mage can find you a 2-drop, so
a 2-drop,
yeah, so it will help you with enough deck. And the other one was Angelic Snacker, right? Like the 4 mana 1/3. So she will make some trades really good. She has synergy with Toph, and she can help you out with trades. So she would be the
How important is Mask of Black Death in terms of take 2 runs?
It's a useless card.
Because right now I'm facing a choice between Black Death plus Medusa versus Baphomet and Precious Bloodfang.
Okay, so Mask of Black Death is useless card on Arena. It's like 2 mana, prevent at best 5 damage, sometimes it will prevent more, but more than not it will do nothing at all. Like, nothing. Sure, it will protect your health, but you will not win the game by protecting yourself. You have to win the game by attacking your opponent. Like, in Bloodcraft you have only 2 win conditions, so either you win by damage or by decking your opponent. You're not gonna deck your opponent, so we already know that, unless he overdraws himself, so it doesn't amount to your ability but to your opponent deck. So you want to win by damage, and Mask of Black Death is simply not good. While Baphomet is a tutor. Baphomet for 2 mana will pick a Bloodcraft card from your deck, so by playing him you are guaranteed that you will have another card in your hand. It's like, treat it as 2 mana to drop that will draw you a card, but you are sure that this card will be a Bloodcraft. And since most of the Bloodcraft cards, followers, are strong, at least the ones that you want to draft, he will simply get you something good. And even if he gets you something that's bad out of your deck, you will still have your draw phase. So he's thinning your deck, and you are able to draw more. So that's just pure card advantage. Precious Bloodfang is not great, but sometimes you will be able to use it.
So I'm asking for you to judge which one is better out of 2 worst. Which one is better, Into the Looking Glass or Spellbook Decryption?
And what are the other pairs with this card?
Goblin Princess and Goblin Slayer. Goblin Princess obviously outweighs Goblin Slayer from my perspective, but
Goblin Slayer, you mean Lucius Goblin Slayer, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Goblin Princess is one of the best 5-drops on Arena, because she simply overflows your board. So it's like 3 creatures. Also, it works with the Angelic Slacker you already had in deck, and after she dies, she will still produce you a unit on the board. Like, you can play your Goblin King for mana 5/5. So she's the better choice. Sometimes, even if it's paired with, I believe, Spellbook Decryption, right?
Sorry?
With which card she's paired? Is she paired with the Spellbook Decryption or Into the Looking Glass?
Into the Looking Glass.
Okay, so that's even better for you, because Into the Looking Glass, worst case scenario, it's a 2 mana, draw a card. That's already fine, but the other shenanigans that you can get advantage of is it will make some of your minions neutral. So you have Toph already. It's another synergy with the Toph. So yeah, why not? Spellbook Decryption is bad, Into Looking Glass is mediocre, it's not a good card, but if you see it like this, if you play 3 Into the Looking Glass, it would be like you played 1 Spellbook Decryption, but for 2 mana. So sometimes when you go into the later stages of the game, you will have this 2 mana floating, so you can just use it to cycle out. And Princess, Goblin Princess is way better than the Slayer, so yeah, that's the choice here.
So I've got a choice between the worst again. I've got Alpha Wolfman with Stolen Life versus Demon Key with Demonic Hedonist. Demonic Hedonist is a 2-drop 2/2 fanfare, gain 1+1/+0 and drain if an evolved allied follower is in play.
Okay, and that's with the Demon Key, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay, so the Wolfman was 3 mana, 2 and 2 with Bane that gains something on Vengeance, right? Like raid copy.
Yep, summon an Alpha Wolfman again if Vengeance is active for you.
Okay, so that's still fine. I mean, sure, for 3 mana, that's not a great investment, so you just get a 2 and 2 Bane, so it's like a Dragon Skyter without the ability to rush, but it's not that bad of a creature. Like, it's still something that can trade with the biggest threat of your opponent. So let's assume you're both going from the top deck, you have no EVO points, no things at all. You just play 3 mana 2 and 2 that can destroy whatever he plays. Let's say he plays Mammoth, the 6/7. It's still gonna trade to the Wolfman, it's still gonna die to it. So in this case, it's just better to take this pair because it's slightly less worse than the other one.
Okay, so I've got quite a hard choice. I've got Dark Air Jammer plus Labyrinth Devil versus Vampire Noble and Scarlet Saber.
Okay, so right here it's easy. Scarlet Saber is one of the best 5-drops. It outscales the Darker Jammer because Darker Jammer is mostly used in standard with the decks when you have Belphegor. So you are guaranteed to turn 4 do a Vengeance thing, then play the Air Jammer. While with the Scarlet Saber, she have a lot of value in herself, like she can shoot something, you can evolve her, kill something, and he still will lose any creature to her because of the Bane fact. And the Vampire Noble, once again, it's a really good creature, really good 3-drop, and the word just adds up to his flexibility. And he works with the Vampire Fortress, so it's like multiple things at once.
So I've got currently Hector plus Angelic Knight versus Axe Fighter and Wise Merman. 1-drop, 1/1. Ability.
Yeah, I know the Merman, but what was the other card with the Merman?
Axe Fighter.
Okay, and the other pair was Angelic Knight and
Hector. Neutral card, 5 mana.
Okay, so Hector is not great. I mean, he's cool if you're able to have enough neutral cards. So, in theory, he can work because you have Into the Looking Glass, you already have some neutral cards, and 5 mana 3/3, it's like worst case scenario 5 mana 3/3 guard, which is terrible, but if he's able to shot something, then he's gonna be awesome. Angelic Knight is a neutral, it also allows you to make some efficient trades and give +1/+0 to creature you have already on the board, while the Merman requires, like, it's 1 mana 1/1, so it's not a good creature, and giving a buff to something, sure, but it have to be neutral, while Angelic Knight can give buff to anything, worst case scenario, it's 3 mana 2/2 with ward, so it can protect you. So even though Hector might not work sometimes, it's still better to go with this pair, like Hector and Angelic Knight, instead of taking the Wise Merman.
Okay, Razor Claw and Miniso Devil versus Lancer and Crazy Executioner. I would say Crazy Claw. So why do I say crazy? Razory.
Okay, so what was the other card with the Razor Claw?
Miniso Devil.
Okay, I know it. So Implancer is really good. So this it's like a premium tire on the arenas, but the Razor Claw is even better because this card can work. You can throw it on your opponent creature. You can throw him into his face. You can bring you down to Vengeance if you are in pinch. So let's say you get Dark General, you are on 12 life. You can use Razor Claw, and then the General will gain Storm. But all in all, it's a removal. So removal is still gonna be better than the Storm creature. So just go for the Razor Claw.
So I'll leave about 2 minutes later. This is the final pair to compare. I'm comparing between Blood Hungry Matriarch plus Phantom Cat versus the Demonic Officer plus Vampiric Fortress.
Okay, Demonic Officer, it was Emeralda, right? The 7 mana for 5?
Yes.
Okay, so she is good, but she's not that great because she requires Vengeance. So, like we already established, more than not, you will not have this Vengeance. And double of the Vampiric Fortress, you don't need this card. Like, 1 is already too much, 2 of them will be bricking your deck. While Matriarch is, once again, it's a bomb card. It's a removal. It's something that will make your opponent lose life. And the other card with Matriarch was... and the Phantom Cat.
Phantom Cat.
Yeah.
It's just that card that is...
Phantom Cat is awesome.
That's the entire deck then.
Okay, so it doesn't sound that bad. You should be able to make at least 3 wins with it.
I'm just
it's possible to
slightly
take 5.
worried about the early game because I'm left with a very, very weird... This is a very, very weird deck.
Well, but it's like with all of the Take-Two decks, they will not look like anything you see on the standard. You just have to play.
Okay, so because from drop 1 to 3, they are all bad. Starting from there, you've got a bunch of Vengeance, and at the end, they completely ignore the previous mechanics. Great. I will see how I do, and as I've stated before, due to DST, I will need to leave now. Thank you for your time. I apologize for not sorting everything out beforehand.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Like, feel free to just contact me on Discord, so we can set up the other one. And well, I just hope you'll be able to fix the spectate, or I will just try the Skype thingy, so this way I can at least spectate. And if you're able to prepare some questions in text format, so let's say you will just hand me the list and I will go over them during the session, that would be perfect.
Thank you. Side question, may I ask what rank you are in? I presume Masters or above.
I'm Grandmaster, obviously.
Yeah. Let's guess. Because I can't really find a profile on you. Nice on call servers. There's mainly people mentioning you instead of you speaking.
I'm not talking too much on the Discord server, so yeah, I'm not saying almost anything on the Shadowverse Discourse. You can find the profile on me, I know, on my fan page stream, whatever. Like if you click on the profile on Discord, then you have all of the social medias, and there I have some screens and such. So I reached Grandmaster about a week of the last month, so yeah, that's how my ranking went.
Okay, so the next session, you said that you wanted to be on Friday, right?
I mean, it can be Friday, it can be Saturday, whatever.
Unfortunately, starting from Saturday onwards, I'm going off to camp, hooray. So Friday is the last day that I am available, unfortunately.
Okay. Friday is fine for me. I mean, we can sort it out via Discord. So I will probably be available for entire day because I have nothing booked for this day yet. So if you just tell me your available hours when you're like sure that you will be able to, then we can just agree on some term later on.
I'll take in the time zone calculation carefully this time. Thanks for your time, and I hope you have a nice day or evening. I'm not quite sure what time zone you are.
I'm like 2 hours, probably 1 hour ahead of you right now because of the saving time.
Okay, so have a nice evening then.
Yeah, you too. So see ya,
Thank you.
and feel free to just ask me anything on Discord. Bye. Okay, so that will be it for the coaching session. Well, unfortunately, he wasn't able to give me his screen because of some weird block on the Steam. So, wow, can't do much. Anyway, as usual, if you just want to register for the Belgium University, either as a coach or as a trainee, or you want to find another coach or such, feel free to either contact me or go on the Belgium Discord and find it there. And for now, it will be the end of the current session. Like, well, we didn't do much because like I said, not being able to spectate is really hard to make some things, and well, yeah, that would just sum it up for today. As you can see, I created a masterpiece in Paint because, well, I had nothing better to do at the moment with the current screen, so I can keep coloring. Maciejów, no widoki Paintowa, no piękne, Polak 2. Dokładnie tak, no ale no, to nie moja wina, typ miał zablokowane na Steamie, no co ja mogę zrobić w tym czasie, tak? Nic nie mogę zrobić w tym czasie na Steamie. So anyway, it would be the end for today, so see ya all, and probably some card streams tomorrow, but no idea. So yeah, bye.